Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are. Although it's the morning after, we are here. England are in a Euro semi-final. Let's bring 40 in. There he is. So I've got a couple of Arsenal fans on today. It's good to have some Arsenal fans on when England have actually won something. Where they've actually won something. Firstly, Gary, how are you?
Okay, thanks.
Good. 40, how are you?
Yeah, I'm hanging, mate.
Good. And we're joined by fantastically joined by Josie. Joe, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Really good. Right, and so we will start off then with the team sheet. Gary, I'll come to you. So when we saw this, I mean, we won, so who cares? But when you saw this, would you have changed anything?
No, I actually think it was the right formation. I think he put on Sancho and Mount and they're players that always press forward, which it happened. I think you with where we were playing the rank outsiders of the round of 16, you had to push forward and set the benchmark early, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. 40, were you pleased for that Gareth Southgate went slightly more attacking than he did against Germany?
I don't know if he did, really. I'm not sure if he did. I just think the Germans were better opposition, mate. I was never convinced that Ukraine was going to be a problem, to be honest with you, and especially with the amount of added time they had in the previous game, and they all looked completely knackered at the end of that game. And to have a game 3 days later, I think freshen it up. People were saved for bookings. Perfect night, really. I think the formation was right. It's been the same since we've been going through, really. It's just little tinkers here and there. Good tournament management, if you ask me. Yeah.
Gareth Southgate's really handled it well in the end, Joe, hasn't he?
I think he's done a brilliant job. I mean, when the team came out yesterday, I was convinced that Sterling should have been on the right and Grealish should have been on the left because he deserved it. But once again, you can't argue with the result. And I was a little bit worried about the yellow card at the start of the game. But it's tournament football, and if you start resting people, key players, in tournament football, when you lose, like we did against, when we went out against Iceland, for example, you can lose to anyone in tournament football. So I think he did the right thing.
Yeah, I agree. And, let's go into the first half then. And, Gary, it couldn't have started off much better, could it? In 4 minutes, 1-0 up. And everyone, I think, just sat back and went, all right, this is good.
Yeah. The tempo of the game to start with for the sort of was brilliant. They dropped off the tempo second half of the first half. And then the tempo was back on in the second half of the game. I think that would be the same sort of strategy against Denmark. If we get past Denmark, and my bet is Italy in the final. We got to keep that tempo up the whole game, really, because I don't really put the bookmakers put us as favourites, but I sort of put Italy as favourites, really.
Yeah,
I think it's home advantage that's given us the edge, I suppose.
Yeah, 40. It was a really good start, wasn't it? Harry Kane getting on the scoreboard for the first time for the first of his 2 goals last night, and Harry Kane starting to spread his wings a bit more now, isn't he?
Well, I mean, it's not rocket science. If people cross the ball in, Harry Kane's going to score, isn't it? I mean, he didn't quite have the supply in the first couple of games, and when a centre forward doesn't score, everyone gets on his back. He's got to be shipped on. He's out of form. Is the transfer speculation getting him? Of course he didn't. You cross the ball in, he'll be there, and he will score. And he nearly scored a brilliant worldie last night. He caught one, an absolute treat. And that, to me, was better than anything he probably did, because you think, well, Harry Kane's trying the unusual game. What was he? Top scorer in the Premier League last year, most assists in the Premier League last year. that to me last night was Harry Kane near his best again, I would say, and that can only be good for England. And one thing I will say as well, I don't really, it doesn't really bother me if Sancho comes in, doesn't bother me if Foden's there, because they can all intertwine. They're not exactly the same player, but they have this lovely license, the front three, to go and do whatever they want. You know, you've got the lovely bank of the two behind as well, and the front three can go and run riot. They've got no responsibilities apart from just going forward, and that's where you get your tempo from. Those front three, you know, as long as we keep the ball well, which we do. You know, we're bullying teams now. I think I disagree with Gary. I think we are favourites. If you ask me, I can't. I think we're nailed on.
Yeah, Joe, everything seems to be falling into place. You know, we got past the group of death team. Now we play probably the worst team in the quarterfinals. No game's an easy game, but we've probably had the easier way through. Italy, Spain, all there. Well, France, that doesn't matter anymore. They're all on the other side of the draw. Like 2018, everything nearly seems to be falling into place.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as I said before, tournament football is difficult, but we definitely have had the better side of the draw. If you're going to pick which side to play against, you ain't going to pick Belgium, Spain, Italy, and France, are you? You're going to pick Denmark, Ukraine, Sweden, aren't you? Out of the two sides, but we still have to beat those teams. And I think when you know, there's no two ways about it. If we lose to Denmark, it will be a disaster for that team, because you are talking probably about a team full of Premier League top players against a team of average Premier League players on best and Championship players, really. You know, I know they're playing well together and they've had the Eriksen problem and stuff, but, you know, the way we're playing, not conceding, coming at people, I don't think they'll be able to handle us.
Yeah, because we are starting really to turn the heat on now. Gary, as the half went on, you know, we did slow the tempo slightly, and there was about 7 minutes after Ukraine made their forced substitution. They switched back to a back four, and for that 10 minutes of the last first half, they were on top, and they were playing some decent football slightly. Oh, hang on, 2 sets.
They were gonna score. The ball sort of ended in the box, and it was dealt with a majority of the time. It never felt like they were actually going to score. They had I think it maybe gave England a chance to think about the rest of the game and manage the game better. That they you know, Ukraine were always going to have a bit of the ball, and in England couldn't have had 90 that not a whole 100% of the game, but yeah, that's about it, really.
Yeah, a perfect response straight out from the second half, though. 46th minute, Harry Maguire, header, bang, 2-0. Any sort of nerves, calm down then.
I mean, right. Well, I was actually carrying 4 pints in at the time when that header went in, and I didn't see any of them. So, perfect start. Yeah, I had to go back to the bar and get another 4 pints. Not a problem. And exactly the same happened just after that again. So I probably chucked away about 30 quid's worth of beer for the second and third goal, which I'm not fussed about. That's absolutely fine. No problem at all. What I will say is that, just going back to your last point as well, there's going to be times when England don't have the ball all the time. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast as well. But Christ, I think Joe will probably tell you, and Gareth, but we've seen England teams give the ball away for fun for years and chase the game and try and get the ball back. And, you know, the later on you get into tournament football, we're absolutely cream crackered, you know, because we've been running. But last night, and even the Germany games as well, the tempo is dictated wherever, you know, yes, we have moments where we have to think we can score, but we take any sting out of the game when we actually get our goal. We just, you know, I don't mind the Maguire, Shaw, Walker thing of passing it back, because it's just recycling the ball, and we keep it and they run. I've had years of watching bloody David Batty and, you know, and Darren Anderson running back, chasing bloody shadows and not getting sod all.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Joe, I mean that was a fantastic header because they had that 10 minutes before before the halftime whistle, which came at the right time for us, let's be honest. And that was a good header to calm the nerves down and to really think now, okay, if we get another one, we can take all of our yellow carded players off and everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I mean, when they made the change and they went to a 5 in midfield, I think they made 2 or 3 passes that went from their centre back straight to their centre forward. And I was looking at my wife and I was going, what is the 2 midfielders doing? Because there's 30-yard balls going along the floor straight into the centre forward's feet, and I thought we're in trouble here. So half time come at the right time for us, and then we score, and that kills them. But going back to what Go just said, it's like the tempo of the game and Belly said that keeping the ball and playing that one touch where they're knocking it back and they're chasing us. We've never done that. I've never seen an England team do that as well as we did it last night. I mean, we must have made twice as many passes as them, and they must have travelled twice as much ground. They had to chase us for 80 minutes of that game. Except for that 10-minute period, we controlled that game incredibly well. And the second goal, not just sealed the game, it killed them because they were tired. They looked leggy. It's an easy, they haven't picked him up at the back post. Harry Maguire is in the far corner. Their goalie actually, I thought, played quite well. He made a couple of good saves. He looked quite solid. Even the one that goes through his legs, that's not his fault. You can't save them. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them that you're just so close to him. I just thought that completely destroyed them mentally. And then having to chase the one touches around the back and the midfield and up the left and down the right, and brilliant football. It's a masterclass yesterday and how to win competition games.
Well, it's all about the passing game at the moment, isn't it? I mean, you look at Spain; they're 2 strikers away from being the perfect team again.
Yeah, I mean, the stats show you it. If you've got their running stats up, I bet they run as a team 20 miles further, 20 kilometres further than we had to, because we ain't got to run. If the ball moves quicker than you, do you know what I mean? That's what I was always told. The ball will move faster than you, so the quicker you move it, the more they have to chase. And I thought we was excellent yesterday.
What do you know about running? You're a bloody goalie.
I'm doing a 10K at the minute. I've got to go running after this. No, I've got to be honest with you. I'm a horrendous runner. When I was playing, I was the worst runner every club I ever was at. I'm all right at plodding.
Yeah. We're gonna get Joe and Taylor, who he's running up against at the end of the month in their 10K run. We're gonna do a video all about that, telling you all the info when that comes. That is for sure. But then we had a bit of ticky-tappy Brazil football to score the 3rd goal, and everything was happy days. There's nothing more to say, is there, Gary?
No. But like you said, that the game is now evolving. It's all about the passing game nowadays. It's no more about the knocking the long ball forward. I mean, there's times when you've got to do that to clear your lines, but it's like Joe said. We were keeping possession, we were making them run, and the opportunities come then that you can thread that ball through and scored a perfect goal. Yeah,
completely. And after that 4D, then the flourish of, I think it was 2 or 3 substitutions came, and it was obvious. Declan Rice came off on the 57th minute. Other players came off as well, just to keep them safe. Gareth Southgate's priorities to make sure they don't get booked, because that would be a nightmare going into the Denmark game. Then good game management by Southgate, that 4D.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I mean, this is a very personal opinion on this as well, but resting Declan Rice and bringing Jordan Henderson on cost me 400 quid. So, I didn't really care.
What did you have, 2-0?
Hey?
Why? What did you have, 2-0?
Well, Harry Kane 3-0.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Better the championship that was. So I thought, what right has Henderson got to score? I mean,
he's not scored in 62 games, has he?
Exactly.
Well, he couldn't even score a bloody penalty last week, and then he goes and pops up and does me over a 400 nicker. Absolute joke.
Oh dear! Oh my god! Absolute nightmare! Absolute nightmare! Yeah, because I saw the stats on the telly this morning. 62 games. That's his first goal.
It's the longest ever, isn't it? It's the most caps without scoring a goal for an outfield player or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I've never liked him.
No, no, right.
To be fair, neither have I.
He's right up there with my ex-mother-in-law now.
Not bitter at all.
Oh. Yeah. And on the 65th minute, Joe, more subs came. Jude Bellingham was given 25 minutes. Raheem Sterling went off. Marcus Rashford came on. Gave them a chance, but the game was done by then. They had a chance to prove themselves, but they didn't really. Bellingham and Rashford, they didn't really impact it as much as they could, I thought.
No, I think out of the whole squad, actually, you know, bearing in mind I'm a Man United fan, I'd say Rashford's been the most disappointing player throughout all the games and the friendlies and stuff. I don't think he's really been at it when he's had the minutes he's had. He's not had long, but I wouldn't say you've seen the best of Marcus Rashford. Like Saka took his chance, then he was unbelievable. Yeah. You know, I would say Rashford hasn't, but Jude Bellingham, who turned 18 on Tuesday, is going to be, to play centre midfield, not like an attacking player, to play centre midfield in a European Championships, 18 years old, he's going to end up being the best midfielder in the world, that kid. I mean, he's a man already, isn't he? He's played 50-odd games. He's playing Champions League. We've got to keep getting him minutes because by the time he's 21, he's going to be a monster. You know, he covers ground, he can score. He's going to be a phenomenal player. 18 years old playing centre midfield. I mean, in the friendlies, when he played in the friendlies before the tournament, I thought he's got to start. You know, but Phillips and Rice, but I think now have been it's sensational. You know, Phillips especially for me. Yeah. You know, from where the kind of player I thought he was to what I've seen, he's just. I was wrong about him. Do you know what I mean? He was,
and that's what Rice.
We all know what Rice can do, but Phillips has been sensational. Brilliant.
As for Rice, I think we've missed that holding midfielder for England. That can push forward as well. I think he's been outstanding as well.
I think those two together are probably the reason we're where we are at without conceding goals because they break play up. Phillips, they're both making tackles. They're both intercepting the ball. No one's really coming through the middle at us. You know, I think he's just got it right. He's just got a team togetherness we haven't seen for a long time. We've always had a team that's like, I said to my wife last night, I said, if you look at like meant to be our golden generations, the early 2000s, 2010, yeah, we had a good 12, 13 players and the rest of them were all right. We haven't got as good starting 11 as we had then, but the 24 as a group are much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the swapping over of the wingers and the centre midfielders doesn't really make any difference. And it, you know, so what Fordy said, it's brilliant that we can see an interchangeable team where we're performing no matter who's playing, you know, and they seem happy. It's a little bit like Wales were in 2016 where there seems to be this fun aspect to playing for your country, which I don't think we've had. Well, I've never seen it. You know, they've always seemed stressed, and the players I know that played for them didn't really enjoy it because of the pressure put on by the country and the press. But everyone seems to be with us. You know, Gareth Southgate's done a wonderful job, and the players there are just playing out of their skin for me.
Yeah. Fordy, I'm going to come to you a bit about Declan Rice because I've seen a lot on social media
Really?
This morning. I
Forgot
have.
it was a bloody West Ham thing again.
and you know, I've seen Declan Rice, blah 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 blah, and I just think last night again for the 57th for the 57 minutes he was on the pitch, he was exceptional again. I thought. Were you there for
Sorry, mate. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was. I don't think he had a lot. I don't think he had to do a lot last night. Personally, I think he's had better games in the tournament than last night. But it's world class. I've come on your show a few times, and Declan Rice is absolute quality. He's a Rolls Royce in that team as well. Him and, like Joe said, him and Phillips have been a revelation. I didn't think they'd been able to play together, but they put that stability where the other guys up top can go and do what they like, really. So when you've got a solid defence, solid two in front of it, the wide players are playing well. I mean, there's nothing not to like in this England side at the moment. It all sort of interchanges nicely as well. Going back to Declan Rice, obviously him and Phillips will start in the semi-final. And that will be their hardest game. That will be their hardest game because of the way Denmark will battle. That's all. But oh God, those two have got the beating of anyone in this tournament. If you ask me, I don't fear Italy or whoever gets in the final. I think if they are game, I think would be absolutely fine. Yes, Rice is brilliant, and Alan Devonshire's amazing, and Trevor Brookins amazing, and whatever. So whatever you want on the West Ham.
Right then.
You know what? Declan Rice reminds me a little bit of Michael Carrick. Michael's a bit of a passer forward. Declan's probably a bit of a player breaking the game up, but he's a player that you don't always notice what he does. I think for most people out there, my wife don't really like him. Do you know what I mean? Because she doesn't see the work he does off the ball and breaking the play up. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he has got a fat ass as well. Women don't like that.
No, that's true.
Right then, let's.
We haven't mentioned Pickford yet.
We will get to him. We will get to him right then. So let's bring on the only Scottishman to support England out there. Anton, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Jakey boy. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad.
Buzzing after last night.
Oh, good. Right, let's just finish off our Declan Rice debate. Talk to me then, Anton.
I just heard what the guys were saying there briefly at the end there, and totally agree. I mean, he goes under the radar, but the work he does under the radar is so effective. He allows the likes of, Calvin Phillips is getting a lot of the plaudits, but he's getting a lot of the plaudits because Declan Rice is allowing him to do what he can do, and that's what we see week in and week out at West Ham with Tommy Souček. I think his stats per game are just phenomenal. And listen, I know it's not the Declan Rice show. I know it's the England show. However, what's nice to see is that our main man is performing at that highest level, and he's just a workhorse and a total team player, and it's great to see.
Yeah, I completely agree. Right, and so I'm just going to pick out a few key players now, and we're going to just discuss them and give them a rating briefly. Gary's eager to talk about Jordan Pickford, so straight over to you then, Gary. For the whole tournament, Jordan Pickford's just stepped up and proved the doubters wrong.
He's been like a captain at the back because he's just been shouting orders out, which you haven't seen from him before, shouting at his defence and keeping them in shape. Which is nice to see from that he's evolved that part of his game to command, to lead from the back. It's just been, it speaks for itself. 7 clean sheets in a row, and it starts with him. So yeah, I think he's been phenomenal this tournament.
Yeah. Joe, with you then, I want to discuss Luke Shaw because I thought he had an exceptional game last night, and he's a big cause to why England haven't conceded in the last 662 minutes of football. He was superb again last night, Luke Shaw.
I think that Luke has maybe been our best player of the tournament. If you look at everything, he's got a number of assists as a left back. What he gives us, he's good. He's good going backwards, but getting forward, he overlaps 20 times a game. We've scored 3 or 4 goals from him overlapping and crossing the ball, and he's playing left back, so he gives us another option getting in the box. I mean, he crossed the ball. He assisted twice yesterday, didn't he? Free kick and then can go. So and he's our left back. Do you know what I mean? And that shows how Gareth's telling them to play. Because if you look at, you've got Walker, who is possibly the quickest player I've ever seen on one side, and Luke Shaw, who can get up and down all day on the other side. It's solid as you like, but I think Luke's been phenomenal. If you look at the career he's had so far, he's still only 25, I believe. So, he's had a tough couple of years, and a lot of people thought he was finished under Mourinho. Well, he's come back stronger than ever, hasn't he? I mean,
yeah.
Where he's going to end up, we don't know, but what a player. He's kind of, you can't say any of the team are playing bad. The only thing that I was worried about yesterday was when Pickford hit the volley and he missed the ball. For the next 10 minutes, he won a rack. He shanked another 2 kicks. He went a bit all over the place. But, I thought so far through this tournament, he's done that throughout his career, but through this tournament, he stayed quite calm when he's not made a mistake, is he, until that point? What I don't want to see is him doing that, because I think that if you're playing a decent team and you're playing in that back four and he becomes erratic and his kicking goes all over the place, you all become erratic. Do you know what I mean? Because up to now, he's been perfect, Pickford. So if he can get his head back on, I know Southgate was shouting him to calm down. Just calm down and breathe. Sometimes you make a mistake and you recover. But Luke Shaw, best left back in the world at the minute, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, superb last night. Fordy, I'm going to come to you about Jadon Sancho. Do you think Sancho took his chance last night, Fordy?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know really how to answer that. I mean, he was all right, wasn't he? He was positive going forward. He won't play in the next game because somebody will come in and sack him up. Well, who's playing? If Foden comes in, I don't watch the Bundesliga a lot, to be honest with you. To have a comment on what he's been doing weekly over there, I've heard he's been impressive, but he didn't get much minutes in the England games before the tournament, so I didn't think he was ever really going to be starting. But so if he didn't play, Foden would play, Saka would play, same as the other side. Really, I'm not, he did all right. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, Gary. Gary, I know you got to go, so thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. Cheers. See you.
Cheers. Cheers. Anton, take your pick now. You can either discuss Raheem Sterling or Harry Kane, because I thought they were both very good again last night.
Can I actually go for the centre half pairing first?
Go on then.
Because I want to give a big shout out to John Stones and Harry Maguire, whom, at the beginning of the season, many people had written off. John Stones, I think he was linked to West Ham at one point, but his career has just turned around dramatically in Man City, and he has stepped up to the plate. And fair play to Harry Maguire. I'm not a big fan, but I think he has. I think they're just being proper brick walls at the back. There was one incident yesterday in the game. I think it was late on. And I know we were up and we were comfortable, but the ball came in low. Sorry, you can hear my daughter in the background. And the ball came in really low, and the calmness and the collectiveness of John Stones, he chested it. He dropped to the floor, chested it, carried the ball forward and drove forward. And that is a sign of the confidence from the back. But like everyone else is saying, the team is performing together. Yes, it's been a slow start. Yes, there's not been the most exciting of football. But as many pundits have said and as many fans have said, you've got to win, and we're not conceding goals. And the players look like they're enjoying themselves. And you can talk about players like Jadon Sancho. I thought he had a good game. I thought he had an exciting game. But what we've got now is players that can step back, and another player can step in and do that. So you've got Grealish, Foden, you've got Saka, and you've got Sancho. And really, if Sancho doesn't start and Foden starts, that's good. If Foden doesn't start and Saka starts, that's good. All of these players have stepped up when they've needed to, and that's exactly what Southgate's got with this squad. So it's phenomenal. And then, like you said, quick point on Sterling and Kane. I mean, Sterling, I seen something last night. If it wasn't for Sterling goals, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
No.
And I'm glad Kane's found a little bit of form. I mean, he's not. Still don't think Kane's playing fantastic, but he's got 3 goals in the tournament. That's what you need from your striker.
Yeah, I agree. Just to finish off, let's discuss Ukraine briefly. Joe, what did you make of Ukraine last night?
I thought they just looked tired, to be honest. I think that not just the amount of minutes they played and the less rest, because obviously that has an impact, and it's as far, I believe it's the furthest that team's ever got. So the country's emotional, isn't it, for them, and a lot of pressure. But I just think, as I said before, the way we moved the ball and the ground they had to cover the way we moved the ball, and the times we scored, the first 5 minutes, the first 2 minutes of the second half, it kills you mentally. I don't really think they offered a lot coming at us. I think we handled it really well. And I think the back four, we just said, are doing really well. I think Stones, Maguire, Walker, Shaw looks very, very calm. If somebody does make a mistake, I thought Walker should have tracked someone in the first half, but he didn't. Stone blocks the ball, it goes off for a corner. It seems to be me like it's working so well that whoever we play at the minute has got to do a lot to beat us. And you wouldn't say anyone in the Ukraine team, you know, no one was memorable, were they? You know, I know the striker's meant to be coming to West Ham or Arsenal, but I wouldn't watch that and think we need to get him. But I think going back to Harry Kane, I think what and players change the game. I think he's got to stop coming deep or going wide like he does at Tottenham. I think he's got to stay in that box because we've seen now he's got 3 goals from being inside the 6-yard box, really. So, you know, he's got to stay as that 9 and stop dropping in because as he drops in, it's not really helping us. We've got midfielders that can play with the ball, and if he stays high, we win. But Ukraine, I wouldn't say any. They've done the best they can do. You know, you wouldn't say they're the stinker, but they didn't pick the players up in the box. The back 4 weren't great, I didn't think. But I just think they got outplayed by better players and a better team.
Yeah. 4D, did you make anything of Ukraine last night?
No. Next question. That's why I bet 4-0. I didn't, you know. Joe said everything. Anyway, they were leggy. We were fresh as a daisy. We had far too many attacking options, and they couldn't. We never looked like conceding. So, you know, I don't see a lot of problems against the Denmark side. I've just watched the highlights this morning. They're all right. They're quite industrious, like most of the Scandinavian sides are. You know, the good energy levels and stuff like that. But I don't see anything there again. You know, I can see it being exactly the same. We score as many goals, but I can see the same sort of game plan playing out against Denmark, to be honest.
Yeah. Anton, we all know Andrei Yarmolenko too. I think it was only once or twice we let him cut back onto his left foot and they looked half dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with the sentiment behind what everyone else is saying about Ukraine. Leggy, I think Shevchenko has done a great job taking him to the quarterfinals. Yeah. And yeah, massive respect to them. And I thought they've been playing well, and a couple of good games I've watched them play. And Yarmolenko's looked like the player that West Ham bought originally. You know, the reason why we bought him. But yeah, leggy, they did look tired, or maybe they didn't look tired. Maybe England just looked fresher and more up for it, to be honest. And the occasion maybe got to Ukraine, but they didn't really turn up. And like you said, see, from the 3rd minute onwards, once we got that goal, I didn't massively I didn't feel really on edge. The only edge I felt was making sure England just got the next goal to move on and move on in the game. And it's not being cocky; it's just literally the way it was. It was one of those games. I'm a little bit different. I'm a little bit different in terms of Denmark. Like I agree with what Fordy said. Like I don't see a huge amount in theory. However, I think there's a lot of things that are carrying Denmark. The situation that they're in at the start of the tournament. There seems to be the world is behind them, and that can carry. But what we need to remember is we're going to Wembley. I don't know how many fans are going to be in the stadium.
I think it's 60,000. I think.
Yeah, 60.
That can play massive dividends to England, and it's going to be an exciting game, and yeah, it'll be a good game. I think Denmark will be a good challenge. But I think they'll be better prepared than what Ukraine were.
Yeah. So just before we wrap things up, this is a beautiful image. Look at that. Our CDM, Declan Rice. No one can see. He's not off to Chelsea. Don't say that. He's not off to Chelsea. Not a chance.
I've seen a good statement for that. It says, "Show me a picture without telling me that Declan Rice is going to be a West Ham player next season," and that's
Good point. Very good point. Any last thoughts from you before we head then, guys?
For me,
It's coming home.
I think this is the best chance we've had since '66. I think that's the way it's looking and the way they're playing, and you know, it's looking promising, isn't it? I don't want to speak too soon because you don't want to, do you? But you know, I think not getting to the final would be failure now.
Yeah.
If you lose to Italy and Italy are a decent team, I can live with that in the final. I can live with it. I won't be happy, but I can live with it. If we lose to Denmark, I'll be devastated, and that's a foul.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I'm not sure if Italy will have a full side out for the final or semi-final, because in the previous game, didn't all 11 of them have life-threatening injuries? And you know, Did you see that Immobile? Did you see
Yeah.
the Immobile?
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh.
It's I teach. I've got an under-14s team, right? And we're all bantering about this on the thing, and it's so bad, isn't it? It's so
It is.
bad.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing. You'll find this out later on, Jake, of how to get out of having a little bit of how's your father with your missus. It's just a plain injury. Just like, oh no, not tonight, and then clean up the bed. Absolutely incredible. Like Italy as a team, don't like them as players. Are horrible, cheating, horrible side.
Yeah.
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 Well, as Gary Lineker says, I don't usually agree with him, but I do agree with him in this one. You need a bit of West Ham for England to win a major tournament. There we go. Thank you very much for you guys for coming on.
See you later.
Cheers, Jake. Take it
Goodbye.
easy, guys.
Thank you, bro. Come on, England.
Bye,
And
England.
come on, England. Let's get to the final now, and we'll see you very, very soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah,